Hi guys, That's Song Review Guy here, and on today's episode of Charts in the Past, we look back at the 10 biggest selling singles on the 15th of September 1987. Kicking things off at number 10 is Toy Boy by Sunita. Born Sunita Renee Malone in 1963 in Seattle, Washington, Sunita has become more of a household name here in the UK more than anywhere else in the world. Not so much for her music career, but more so for her affiliation with the UK talent show competition, The X Factor, since she, at one point in her lifetime, rode Simon Cowell's Dick. The R&B/disco singer, most notable for her smash hit single, So Macho, only released 3 albums in an 8-year period from 87 to 95 and only had 5 singles charting the UK Top 40, with this song peaking at number 4. The gist of this song is about Sunita's desire to not be tied down in a long-term relationship. Instead, she'd much rather be affiliated with her toy boy. Which, considering that Sunita was in her early 20s when she recorded this toy boy could only be 7, despite not having any money because, well, he's underage, as I've clearly proven. He's a reliable person because whenever Sunita wants some loving, all she needs to do is snap her fingers and he comes running any day, any time. Complete with random introductory vocals from some unsigned singers, possibly. The instrumentation sounds awfully similar to Kylie Minogue's I Should Be So Lucky. Then again, considering the song's production and writing credits go to Scott Aitken and Waterman, it's honestly no surprise. Repetitive electronic drum beats, bright tinkling synths over said drum beats, and echoing effects that are ever present in the delivery of the lyrics, it's another one of these interchangeable dance/synth-pop songs that were rife in the late 80s to early 90s. What more is there to say? Nothing. At number 9 is Casanova by Levert, an American contemporary R&B trio that consisted of brothers Gerald and Sean Levert, both sons of the founder of the OJs, Eddie Levert, and Mark Gordon. Only one of their 7 studio albums ever charted in the top 100 and dropped 27 singles, with only this song charting in the top 10. Everything else failed to make any sort of impact whatsoever. This group are no longer together after the death of both the Levert brothers, Gerald in November 2006 due to an accidental overdose, and Sean in March 2008 while serving a jail sentence in Cuyahoga County Prison in Ohio. Apologies for the raping of the pronunciation there. This song is about a man who's doing his best to try and woo his woman to be his wife. Despite the fact that he highlights that he's just an average guy and, in his words, is no Casanova, so he won't stray, and he may be no Romeo, yet it's his full intention to love, squeeze and fill this woman up inside. At least he's honest, right? This song is a rare case of a group who only had one song to their name, and it turns out to actually be quite a good track. The drums, which uses a mix of real and electronic drums, are quite simple. The staccato synth keyboard chords, along with the occasional basic synth melody and synth strings, bouncy bass line, funky yet brief electric guitar strings and other percussion instruments including a cowbell and what I think is a xylophone, plus the vocals which are full of R&B smoothness and richness, and along with the nicely delivered backing vocals, yeah, it's a pretty good song and definitely worth checking out in my opinion. At number 8 is What Have I Done to Deserve This by the Pet Shop Boys featuring Dusty Springfield. Consisting of lead singer Neil Tennant and keyboardist Chris Lowe, this duo, whose career spans more than 30 years, are a staple in the electropop genre. Not only are they recognised in the Guinness Book of Records as the most successful duo in UK music history, selling over 50 million records worldwide, have 22 top 10 singles under their belts, 4 going to number 1, every one of their 12 studio albums charting in the top 10, have won a few Brits and Ivor Novello awards, including the 2009 Outstanding Contribution Award, have been nominated for many Grammys, and have worked with some of the biggest acts in music past and present. One of these acts includes Dusty Springfield, one of my personal favourite female solo artists of all time, and the combination of these two for me is like a dream come true. And, well, it doesn't let down. Peaking at number 2 in the UK, the song is a call and response style song, with the male and female protagonists of a broken down relationship highlighting the things in their relationship that's caused its ultimate demise. The male asking what he's done to deserve to be left in this situation when he's been pouring his heart into making this relationship work, whilst the female contemplates how she's going to get through this difficult time before suggesting that the two come to a compromise and work through their difficulties. The instrumentation starts off with these off-kilter electronic drums before breaking into the tinkling synth melody, introducing a trombone piece throughout the intermittent moments along with synthetic keyboard chords in the verse. It's a brilliant song, one of the duo's best, and it revived Dusty's career. And that's pretty much perfect as far as I'm concerned. At number 7 is Causing a Commotion by Madonna. Recognised as the queen of pop and cited as one of the main influences in many artists' career, Madonna's career is one of many glorious highs and some pretty cringe-worthy lows. Throughout her 35-plus year career, she's released 13 studio albums, selling over 300 million copies worldwide, all achieving top 10 status, 9 going to number 1, has released 82 singles, selling over 150 million copies worldwide, 60 achieving top 10 status, 13 hitting the number 1 spot. She's the most certified artist of all time in the UK, winning a total of 45 awards, is the biggest selling female artist in the US, the 4th biggest selling of all time, has set multiple world records, has been nominated for a total of 494 awards, winning 280. I could go on all day listing all of her achievements, but I have a song to cover, so here we go. From the soundtrack to the 1987 movie Who's That Girl, the song apparently was inspired by Madonna's relationship with ex-husband Sean Penn. Referencing one of her previous songs, Into the Groove, the song's lyrics concern a woman who basically wants to stay involved with a bloke who apparently is the exact opposite to her in every way, wants to keep him by her side, yet he wants out, and apparently he's a dickhead for wanting out in the first place. You know, considering that the song is also supposed to contain hints about Penn's abusive nature to her during their relationship, the lyrics don't really contain anything of the sort. As far as Madonna's songs go, it's far from her best work, but considering what she went on to release down the line, it's also far from her worst. Combining the descending bass line with electronic drum beats and funky electric guitars and stabbing keyboard chords and layered vocal tracks, it's a passable song from what is apparently a shit movie. Atypical dance pop that doesn't really admit any more than a shrug of the shoulders and the notion that you'd never have to listen to the song again. I'm cool with that. At number 6 is Some People by Cliff Richard. Born Harry Roger Webb in 1940, Sir Cliff Richard is pretty much a staple in terms of British music. One of the most successful solo artists ever, Sir Cliff's career is one of many accolades through his near 60 years in the business. The 3rd top-selling single artist of all time in the UK, behind the Beatles and Elvis Presley, has sold over 21 million singles here, has sold over 250 million albums worldwide, has recorded 42 studio albums, 31 reaching the top 20, has dropped 154 singles, 69 of them were top 10 hits, 12 number 1. He's won many awards including 3 Brits, 2 Ivor Novellas, and has come top of many Readers' Awards polls throughout the 60s and 70s, and holds a very distinctive honour. He's the only artist ever to have a number 1 song in every decade from the 50s through to the 90s. The song in a nutshell is a basic love song about how there are so many people who use and hurt others just because they can, but there's no need to fear because according to Cliff, he's not like that at all. Aww, what a sweetheart old Cliff he is. Then again, when you're a good Christian like Cliff, you can do no wrong. Am I right? Ambiguous pause over, back to the song. I'm like a broken record here when it comes to describing the instrumentation because it's basically nigh on all the same. Electronic synth drums along with the same style of prolonged chords to fill the background, but does have the rare acoustic guitar in some places which does give some sort of relief. Other than that, it's boring, safe, dull as dishwater and easily skippable. Next, at number 5 is Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. I don't think any of you watching this video need any sort of introduction to U2. However, if by some minuscule chance you've never heard of the biggest rock band to ever come out of Ireland, allow me to fill you in. With a career spanning 49 years and a formation that's seen the coming and going of a total of 0 members, the group had 13 studio albums under their belts, selling over 145 million copies worldwide, 11 going platinum, 1 going diamond, 9 going to number 1, 43 top 20 singles, 7 of which were number 1 hits, have won a mega butt ton of awards, 89 overall, including Grammys, Brits, MTVs, NMEs and Q Awards, and were inducted into the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2005. The song from their most commercially successful album worldwide, The Joshua Tree, has many interpretations. Essentially, it's about the protagonist's desire to go to a place, specifically a place where the streets have no name. No one knows quite where this place is, but Bono has stated in previous interviews that the place is Belfast. Many magazine articles believe this place to be Ethiopia, since the song was reportedly written whilst Bono and his wife were on their way to Ethiopia for a humanitarian visit. Wherever this place is, who cares, because the song is fucking great. The composition is built on 2 time signatures, changing from 3/4 after the first 42 seconds before going into the more conventional 4/4 time. The combination of synth and stabbing electric guitars create this wall of sound, with intermittent bass and drums before becoming a constant in the later stage of the song. The constant shifting of chord structure and melodies create what is in fact a rather beautiful and intricate piece of work that really makes future works by this group inferior by comparison. A real gem for a group who, let's admit it here, over their time, their work has become increasingly substandard, and it really does feel like outlets like Rolling Stone suck up big time to this group just because it's U2. At number 4 is Heart and Soul by T'Pau. You're all probably more familiar with the Shropshire-based group fronted by Carol Decker than you think. Famed for their number 1 smash hit single China in Your Hand, which went quadruple platinum in the UK, the group's original run from 1986 to 1991, rising from the dead in 98 where they continue to this day, albeit consisting of Decker and guitarist Ronnie Rogers. The group had a decent run during their first stint, securing 6 top 20 singles, their first 3 albums charting in the top 10. Heart and Soul was the first ever single that they dropped, peaking at number 4 in the UK, coincidentally the same peaking position in the US, going to number 1 in only Canada. From reading the lyrics, the song seems to be about the female protagonist falling in love with a man who at first seems to be a real gen. However, once the relationship progresses, it turns out that the man turns out to not be the person that she first met. Down the line, he turns out to leave our protagonist for another woman, and Decker is left longing for some heart and soul. To be honest, I'm really not digging this song too much. The vocal delivery is very hushed and it isn't clean, and the mixing drowns out the vocals even further. Even the layering of the much brighter vocals don't do anything to save the song. In fact, it makes the verses even more difficult to understand and kind of makes the track unlistenable. Repeating drum track, synth keyboards, electric guitars and bass guitar aside, the song does absolutely nothing for me. At number 3 is Wipeout by the Fat Boys and the Beach Boys. The 12-bar blues instrumental was originally released as a single in 1963, written by Bob Berryhill, Pat Connolly, Jim Fuller and Ron Wilson, was recorded by the soft rock group, the Safaris. All names mentioned previously were a part of the group and did well in the charts, peaking at number 5 in the UK and number 2 in the US. The track has been used in over 20 movies including Dark Star, Dirty Dancing and The Sandlot. It's also been used in television shows and has been covered by numerous artists. One of these artists being the hip-hop trio, the Fat Boys, and the rock group, the Beach Boys, whose cover charted better than the original, peaking at number 2 in the UK. Where the original had no lyrics to it, other than the laugh and the word Wipeout at the beginning, the lyrics to this version are basically the Fat Boys rapping about coming to the end of a huge tour and decided to spend a day at the beach. Naturally, being such a worldwide juggernaut, every woman floods to them, and by the end of the day, they party all throughout the night, mentioning the Beach Boys all but twice, and telling everyone to sing the Wipeout. Clearly they didn't get the memo, because it's an instrumental. There are no words to that instrumental, mate. The real differences here is in the instrumentation. Gone are the rapid drums, quick bass guitar and clean electric guitars delivering the classical sound. Instead, everything's been slowed down. The drums on this cover are electric, the guitars don't excite me, and the vocal delivery from the talentless trio is so fucking annoying. Seriously, you just want them to shut the fuck up. The Beach Boys are far better than this, and the fact that this peaked higher than the original, yeah, that's not good. At number 2 is Pump Up the Volume by Mars. The one-time act consisting of Aitken members Alex Ailey and Rudy Tambala, and Colourbox members Steve and Martin Young, Chris McIntosh and Dave Durrell. Formed solely for this project in 1987, little did anyone know how huge this track would become. Receiving a Grammy nomination in '89, achieving #1 status in 6 countries, including the UK, there are numerous versions of this song that have been made, and depending on what part of the world you live in, it's constructed out of a total of 29 tracks, including songs by James Brown, Run DMC, Kool and the Gang, Graham Central Station, Public Enemy and Fred Wesley and the JBs, just to name a few. Naturally, due to the numerous samples used, there were legal difficulties up the arse regarding this track, making it even more notorious. Along with the fact that neither groups could stand working with one another during the creation process, needless to say, this was a pretty unpleasant experience for both groups. Shame really, because what resulted out of it was a pretty fucking good piece of house music. There's no real point in reviewing the lyrics here. It's just the words pump up the volume spread throughout the track with other random lyrics thrown here and there. Hey, it's house music. You're not exactly expecting masterful lyrics here, are we? Unlike other house music tracks, this one doesn't feel the need to blow out your eardrums to shit. It's actually quite restrained in its presentation, and that's actually a very welcome relief. This is the only thing that Mars will ever leave behind, and really, you couldn't have asked for better than this. And finally, the #1 song on the 15th of September 1987 was Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. By now, anyone under the sun who has a functioning pulse know who Rick Astley is. Primarily, they'll associate the guy with this song due to it becoming an internet phenomenon, creating the terminology Rickrolling in the process, but the man's career goes far beyond this track. He's released 6 albums, first 3 charting in the top 10, has 14 charting singles, 8 reaching the top 10, with this song being his one and only #1 single. After his retirement in '93, it was estimated that he sold over 40 million records, was voted the best act ever by internet users for the 2008 MTV Europe Music Video Awards, to be taken with a huge pinch of salt, I know. Was awarded a Brit in '88 and was nominated for a Grammy in '89. Not bad for a guy who originally started out as a T-boy to Scott Aitken and Waterman. Yeah, they're back. At least they can hold their heads up high for this one. You all probably know what this song's about. Boy meets girl, boy is head over heels for girl, and reassures her that he's in the relationship for the long term, promising to never abandon this lady, and that this is a commitment that she wouldn't get from any other man. Highly presumptuous, I know, but that's lyrics for you. Much like a lot of good songs, it's the instrumentation that really pulls this song off. As is atypical with a lot of Scott Aitken and Waterman produced songs, you've got the conventional electronic drums hammering at the start of the song, synth strings and brass instruments that have a distinctive melody, background harmonies and synth keyboards creating a nice big bundle of glorious syntheticness. Despite becoming a parody in recent times, it's actually a really good song, and for me, it's definitely well worth the praise. And that's it. Those were the top 10 biggest selling songs of the 15th of September 1987. What do you guys think? Do you like these songs? Do you hate them? Do you agree with my opinions? Disagree with them? However you feel, leave your opinions in the comment section. As I always say, I welcome all of your guys' comments. The more the merrier. Until next time, I'm That Song Review Guy, and take care.